Well, everybody, welcome to the Patch You Later YouTube channel. My wife Molly and I started a pumpkin patch, Papo's pumpkin patch, last year, and now Molly has started a YouTube channel around the pumpkin patch. Probably will be some educational videos on here. Most of them will probably be just fun, but I figured this will be the second year that we'll be planting pumpkins, and we learned some things about our pumpkin planter, and maybe you might be thinking of having a pumpkin planter. You can plant a lot of small seeded anythings with this planter, and you can have one relatively inexpensive. If you go to a farm sale, you can pick up, this is a 7100 John Deere planter. What will work good about these is that it does have like the longer row unit on it, which you can see was turned into seats. We bought this planter, and I wish that we did not buy this planter built after spending the money on it. Basically, we were supposed to plant the pumpkins with a meter. Has John Deere corn meters on it. This is the box that it was in. They have fingers in there, and it's supposed to leave every third finger, and it's supposed to plant pumpkins. Did not work worth the crap. So last year we ended up just planting them by hand, going to plan B, and what you used was a funnel and a tube and planted them by hand. Well, I drove the tractor, Colt planted by hand, and my wife planted by hand, so I didn't really plant them by hand. Anyways, longer story shorter, we've made some upgrades, and if you guys are wanting to have a corn planter, this is a pretty decent way about it. And maybe we'll fix up a few more things after this year's experiences here. But here's what we have. Start out with any planter that you can find relatively cheap. I like the 3-point deal. Because it's easier to maneuver and you can go in straight lines. Not very easy to find a 3-point one. If you have welding knowledge, you can convert one into a 3-point and or just use a pull type one. That's another option, but I do like the 3-point. I would recommend the 3-point. Like I said, you could use any planter realistically, but ones that have the longer, like there would be the seed box, and that's supposed to be an insecticide box where the seed is. That gives you a lot more platform to go with. I would suggest trying that out. For us, we have these 2 rows on. And you don't even have to do 2 rows. We did 2 rows because the fact that we could. And it helps actually with the spacing, in my opinion. We went with 7-foot spacings. The reason we went with the 7-foot spacing is that we have 2 rototillers available to us to rototill down those lines. One, I believe, is a 6-foot rototiller, and one is a 7-foot rototiller. And right here, these rototillers will go down the rows and help us control the weeds. So that's why we selected the 7-foot spacings on our pumpkin planter. You guys can do whatever spacings you want, but that's why we went with the 7-foot spacings, is to be able to rototill in between the pumpkins. So the first year I used GPS to steer, worked fine. We painted lines on the tires to try and have the population count. They would try and dump every time the yellow line would come around. That got kind of hard to keep up with. If you guys will see a video, there's a linked video up here. You guys can actually see how that went. They ended up just doing like 1, 2, 3 drop, and they drop a seed. Worked good. They were using them out of a dish, or it's actually the cap of a PVC pipe. Mixing up the seeds. We mix up our pumpkin seeds. That way it's kind of like an adventure to go out and find the pumpkins. And that worked. We got our pumpkins in. What we needed to upgrade last year was the ability for some comfort on there, and then to change up a few things. So Colt welded on the back a couple of old tractor seats. I mean, you could put nicer seats on there if you wanted to, low budget wise. A couple of old tractor seats went on here. That worked. Then Colt welded on an L bracket for us. So this L bracket to a wood platform. This wood platform is going to get a pool noodle around the outside of it, and then we can dump the seeds right up here on top, and then you just have to drag the seeds in versus having to pull them out of a cup and put them into the funnel. This is just an oil funnel right there, 11-inch flexible oil funnel into a couple PVC pipes that are actually for sink drainage into the seed tube, and that's how that plants. So those are what we've upgraded there. The other thing that we just added here today is the GPS works if you're going quicker, but I'd like to go slower. So we welded on a couple of drags. So the drags are 3.5 feet from the row unit, so that will drag in the dirt, and then you'll be able to just drive the tractor. Center marker, which is this gal right here, that chrome dome, right down the rows, not have to use GPS and keep your spacings. Because again, you want to have the 7-inch spacings or 7-foot spacing, sorry, for being able to rototill. And obviously that's a 7-foot spacing, but then you have to drive straight enough that in between this row and the guest row is another 7 foot. With the spacings, and the GPS was off on that. Colt actually rototilled last year. I don't know, was it horrible? Like it did okay though, the GPS last year, but it got tight in places, didn't it?
It was close.
Yeah.
Some places you almost had to go twice down one row, and some places you were.
Yeah.
So this will eliminate that pretty good, I think.
Yeah. So luckily, and that was the thing, is that since we had smaller than our row width with the rototillers, the lines didn't have to be perfectly straight. But this will make it a lot nicer. So basically now, in the future videos, you guys will see it, is that one person rides right here, one person rides right there. The pumpkin seeds will go on here. You'll be able to just pull them into the cup. Still gonna do a count type of deal for the spacings. A lot easier. They're secured. Probably put a cup holder or a beer holder on here somewhere. Colt did add a foot peg to these for the comfort to ride. Otherwise, your legs were just dangling. So 1 foot will ride there and 1 foot will ride there. I don't know, Colt, you want to sit on it and show them?
I can show them. I'm gonna show them on the feet so I know I won't fall off.
Yeah. So then the hooks here, that'll just hold up the chain from dragging. Somebody is going to smoke themselves on these things.
No doubt.
Probably going to have to paint them blaze orange, but yeah, right there. That's how you ride the pumpkin planter and plant the seeds.
I gotta say, I couldn't have done it better myself.
You did it better yourself. So they'll be more comfortable, but
Way more better than last year.
way more better than last year. Just little fixes ups for that. If you guys have questions about how to do these pumpkin planters, honestly, you could go to a farm sale, and if you have any mechanical like know-how at all, you can go pick up junk old planters for no money. Start torching, start welding, and less than $1,000, and you can have yourself a nice, decently nice pumpkin planter, or any type of planter. You know, if you wanted to plant sweet corn with this thing, if you wanted to plant sunflowers with this thing, anything. I mean, the more seeds you get per acre, it gets harder because you're going to have to like start really dropping them down in there. But for like bigger seeds like this, work great. So there you go. That's our pumpkin planter setup for 2024.